Tonight's story takes us to a bridge in India, a place surrounded by decades of terrifying legends,
One of its most haunted places, Holkar Bridge. This place
unexplained encounters, and eyewitness accounts that continue to puzzle people even today. Many believe this bridge isn't haunted by a single spirit, but by hundreds. Let's get into the video. When I first started Nocturnvoid, I never planned on making a video about Holkar Bridge. It honestly wasn't even on my radar. That changed after one of my subscribers sent me an email describing an experience he claimed happened there. At first, I thought it would make for an interesting story, but I have one rule on this channel. I never want to tell you half the story. So before I even considered making this video, I spent the next 2 days researching everything I could find about Holkar Bridge. Its history, its geography, the local legends, the documented incidents. And by the time I finished, I finally understood why so many people consider this one of India's most infamous haunted locations. Now, before we get into the subscriber story, there's something you need to understand. Because without knowing the history of this bridge, the events you're about to hear won't make much sense. So stay with me for the next couple of minutes. I promise, it's important. Holkar Bridge was originally built over the Mula River during the 1790s under the rule of Yashwantrao Holkar, the ruler after whom the bridge is named. A few decades later, in 1817, this area became part of one of the most important battles of the Third Anglo-Maratha War. The Battle of Kirki was fought between the Maratha Empire and the British East India Company. The British won the battle, and after their victory, a military camp was established nearby. The soldiers who lost their lives during that conflict were later buried in what is now known as the British Cemetery, located roughly 1.6 kilometers from Holkar Bridge. Today, if you approach the bridge from the western side, you'll notice that it's actually not very long. The bridge stretches for approximately 548 meters. Near one end of the bridge stands a small temple, and about 150 meters away is a graveyard. For years, many locals have pointed to these places while trying to explain the strange stories surrounding the bridge. But according to the stories I found during my research, those aren't the only reasons people believe this place is haunted. There are several others, and we'll get to each of them as this video continues. Also, in 2019, the government constructed another bridge right beside Holkar Bridge to help reduce traffic in the area. Believe those stories or not, I'll leave that up to you. But listen carefully to what happened next. Holkar Bridge itself is more than 200 years old, and beside the bridge are two places that have fueled local legends for generations: an old graveyard and a historic British cemetery. As Raj and Priya rode onto the bridge, everything seemed perfectly normal at first. But the moment they reached the center, Raj noticed something that made his stomach drop. The bright evening sky that had been crystal clear just moments earlier suddenly turned dark. Within seconds, a heavy downpour erupted. The rain became so intense that Raj could barely see the road in front of him. He shouted over the sound of the storm, "As soon as we get off this bridge, I'm pulling over if I find any shelter." "Yeah, okay," Priya replied. A few moments later, they finally crossed the bridge. Immediately ahead was a sharp left-hand curve. As Raj rounded the bend, he noticed two small houses, a small temple, and right beside it, a bicycle repair shop. Raj pulled the motorcycle over, and the two of them hurried beneath the roof of the bicycle repair shop to escape the rain. Standing under the small metal awning, they watched as the shop owner began closing up for the evening. When the man noticed Raj and Priya standing outside, he quietly walked back inside the shop and switched on a light. Raj assumed the owner's house was attached to the shop, so he figured the man had turned the light on simply out of kindness, making sure they wouldn't be left standing in the dark. At first, nothing seemed unusual, but then Priya suddenly grabbed Raj's arm, tight. "Raj," she whispered, "have you noticed something?" Raj looked at her. "What?" "Everyone coming this way, they're taking shelter under the building next door." She glanced toward the neighboring building. "There's plenty of room under this shop's roof, but not a single person is coming over here." Raj shrugged. "They're probably just being weird. You're overthinking it." But as the minutes passed, even Raj started feeling uneasy. He watched people run through the rain, stop beneath the neighboring building, wait for a few moments, and then leave. None of them ever walked over to where Raj and Priya were standing. Finally, Raj frowned. "The rain hasn't stopped, so why is everyone leaving already? And why is nobody coming over here?" By now, all the stories Raj had ever heard about Holkar Bridge began replaying in his mind. The fear he had been trying to ignore was slowly taking over. Priya had gone completely silent. Her breathing became faster, and panic began creeping into her voice. "Raj," she said quietly, "I don't like this place. Let's just leave. I don't care if we get soaked." Trying to calm her down, Raj pointed toward the nearby temple. "Hey, don't worry. There's literally a temple right next to us." But his words didn't help. Instead, Priya gripped his hand even tighter. The rain kept growing heavier. Minute after minute passed, yet it felt as if time itself had slowed down. Standing beneath that tiny bicycle shop roof, every single minute felt unbearably long. It was as if they had already been trapped there for hours. As the minutes dragged on, Raj couldn't stop watching the shop owner. The man kept repeating the same strange routine. He would disappear into the house behind the shop, then slowly walk back outside, stand there with a completely blank expression, force a wide smile toward Raj, and then quietly walk back inside. He never said a single word. He never even seemed to blink. Then Raj noticed something even stranger. Every time the man came back outside, he stayed there a little longer than before. And despite the relentless rain pouring all around them, his clothes were completely dry. Not damp, not soaked, perfectly dry. It was as if the storm wasn't touching him at all. The longer Raj stared, the more wrong the man looked. His clothes somehow seemed longer than they had been only minutes earlier. And now, he was doing nothing except staring directly at Raj, wearing an unnaturally wide smile. The moment their eyes met, about 5, maybe 10 seconds later, both Raj and Priya caught the smell of something burning. It wasn't ordinary smoke. It smelled like wood and rubber burning together. Priya immediately turned toward Raj. "Do you smell that?" she asked nervously. "Something doesn't smell right." Trying to keep both of them calm, Raj answered, "It's probably just the water collecting behind the shop. Don't worry, once the rain slows down, we'll leave." But this night was only beginning. A few moments later, the light inside the bicycle shop began to flicker. Once, twice, then again. As the light flickered, Raj instinctively looked toward the inside of the shop, and for just a split second, everything changed. The bicycle repair shop was gone. The shelves, the tires, the tools, every single thing had disappeared. Instead, there was only a dark, burned-out room. Its walls were blackened with scorch marks, and sitting in the very center of that room was a single iron chair. The exact same chair that Priya had just brought from her old apartment. Sitting in that chair was a man. His entire body was completely burned. Raj and Priya froze. For a moment, neither of them could even breathe. Then Priya let out a blood-curdling scream. The two of them turned to run, desperate to get away from whatever they had just seen. But before they could take more than a few steps, the old shopkeeper was suddenly standing directly in front of them. He slowly raised one trembling finger and pointed at Priya. In a calm, almost emotionless voice, he said, "You owe me a debt, child. Return what belongs to me." The moment the old shopkeeper finished speaking, the rain stopped instantly. Raj and Priya didn't wait another second. They jumped onto the motorcycle and sped away as fast as they could. After riding for about 200 meters, Raj noticed something impossible. The road ahead was completely dry. There wasn't a single sign that it had rained there at all. No puddles, no wet pavement, nothing. Both Raj and Priya felt goosebumps race across their skin. After a long silence, Priya finally asked, "Raj, what just happened back there?" Raj never answered. Deep down, he already knew that whatever they had just experienced didn't belong to this world. That night, Raj quietly dropped Priya off at her apartment. Neither of them spoke about what had happened. The next morning, Raj went to check on her. The moment Priya opened the door, he could tell something was terribly wrong. Her face had gone pale, and dark circles surrounded her eyes. She looked exhausted, as if all the energy had been drained from her body. Raj asked, "Did you call your mom and tell her what happened last night?" Priya shook her head. "Are you crazy? She'd only panic for no reason." But neither of them could stop thinking about the previous night. They needed answers. So they got back on the motorcycle and headed toward Holkar Bridge once again. Eventually, they reached the exact same location where they had taken shelter the night before. But the moment they looked up, both of them froze. The small temple was gone. Standing in its place was a mosque. Priya's face turned white. She immediately looked at Raj. "Let's go home right now." She wanted to leave immediately. After trying to convince her for a few minutes, Raj finally agreed. He dropped Priya back at her apartment. But unlike Priya, Raj couldn't let it go. His curiosity had only grown stronger. What had really happened there? And what was the truth behind that bridge? Determined to find answers, he started his motorcycle once again and headed back toward Holkar Bridge alone. Just before reaching the bridge, there's a place called Kadki. Raj pulled over there, planning to have a cup of tea before continuing his search. This wasn't Raj's first time stopping here. Whenever he passed through Kadki, he would usually pull over for a cup of tea. This time was no different. He parked his motorcycle, lit a cigarette, and said to the tea vendor, "Brother, 1 cup of tea, please." As the tea was being prepared, Raj casually asked, "That storm last night was unbelievable, wasn't it?" It felt different. The tea vendor looked at him and laughed. "What are you talking about?" he said. "It hasn't rained here in the last 2 days." The cigarette slipped from Raj's fingers. "What?" he whispered. "What are you saying?" Raj then told him everything, from the sudden storm to the strange bicycle shop and the old man. The tea vendor listened quietly. When Raj finished, the man's expression turned serious. "You two are lucky you made it out alive," he said. "Years ago, there really was a bicycle repair shop exactly where you're describing. There was also a small temple beside it. About 17 or 18 years ago, sometime between midnight and 1 in the morning, suddenly a massive fire broke out inside the bicycle shop. Because the shop was filled with rubber tires and other flammable materials, the flames spread incredibly fast. The fire destroyed the temple, along with 3 or 4 nearby shops. An elderly man worked at that bicycle shop. He had no family, and he used to sleep inside the shop every night. The shop had been locked from the outside. He couldn't escape. He was trapped inside and burned to death. Raj stood there, unable to say a word. After a few moments, he asked, "But yesterday we saw a temple there, and today when we came back there was a mosque in its place." The tea vendor frowned. "There's no mosque there," he replied. "You've misunderstood something. Go back and look again." Without wasting another second, Raj started his motorcycle and rode straight back to the location. When he arrived, his heart sank. There was no mosque, no temple, only the charred remains of an old building, a blackened tree scarred by fire, and a few burned bricks. All that remained of what had once been the bicycle shop. In the email Raj later sent me, he never mentioned the iron chair again. But after hearing everything, I couldn't help wondering if the chair Priya had bought had once belonged to that elderly man, and maybe he simply wanted it back. Now, when I first heard this story, I'll admit it sounded completely fictional. But after researching the incident myself, I discovered that a devastating fire did occur at Ganesha's Cycle Mart in 2008, reportedly caused by an electrical short circuit around 1 a.m.
That part was real. As for everything else, I'll let you decide what to believe, but while I was researching content for Nocturnvoid, I came across another story about Holkar Bridge. Unlike the subscriber story you're about to hear, this one is considered a local legend. According to people who have lived around the bridge for years, sometime during the late 1980s or early 1990s, a woman was crossing Holkar Bridge late at night with her 5-year-old son. Without warning, a speeding car came racing across the bridge, struck the little boy, and never stopped. The child died instantly. The story goes that the mother was completely devastated. Unable to live with the loss of her only son, she climbed onto the bridge and jumped into the river below, ending her own life. Since then, many locals have claimed that the woman's spirit still wanders the bridge at night. They say she appears in front of speeding vehicles, stops them, and desperately asks the drivers the same heartbreaking question, "Have you seen my son?" And because of this very story, most of the incidents on Holkar Bridge are believed to happen. But that's only one of the many legends surrounding Holkar Bridge. Over the years, hundreds of similar stories have been shared by local residents and travelers. And during my research, I also found 3 more short paranormal accounts that were originally submitted by subscribers to other YouTube creators. Before we get to the main story, let me quickly share those with you. First story. 3 college friends were staying in a hostel while preparing for their entrance exams. One of them was a young man named Arun. Unlike his friends, Arun didn't believe in ghosts. Not even a little. One night, the 3 of them decided to walk to the graveyard near Holkar Bridge. Their hostel was roughly 7 kilometers away. None of them owned a vehicle, so they made the entire trip on foot. At around 2 a.m., they finally reached the graveyard. Arun was so confident that ghosts didn't exist, one of his friends jokingly handed him a bottle of perfume. "If you're really not scared," he said, "put this on and walk 1 full lap around the graveyard by yourself." The third friend immediately objected. "Don't do this. This isn't funny." But by then, Arun's pride had taken over. He sprayed himself with the perfume and walked into the graveyard alone. 15 minutes passed, then 30, then 45. Still, Arun didn't come back. His friends began to panic. They entered the graveyard to look for him. After searching for several minutes, they finally found him. Arun was lying unconscious on the ground. According to the story, he wasn't wearing any clothes. His friends searched the area and eventually found his clothes hanging from a nearby tree. They quickly dressed him and carried him out of the graveyard. By then, it was nearly 4 a.m. They managed to find an auto rickshaw and took Arun back to the hostel. For the next 2 days, everything seemed normal. Then, his behavior began to change. His friends claimed he started acting strangely in ways they couldn't explain. Worried, they took him to a local spiritual healer. According to the healer, Arun was under the influence of 3 spirits. The healer told them that if Arun wanted to recover, he should visit a Hanuman temple every Tuesday and recite the Hanuman Chalisa. The story says that Arun followed this advice faithfully for nearly 2 months. Nothing unusual happened. Then his entrance exams arrived. As he became busy studying, he stopped visiting the temple. Soon afterward, the exam results were released. Arun had scored far worse than he had expected. His family and friends tried to comfort him, telling him that he could always try again next year. But according to the account, just 2 days later, Arun died under mysterious circumstances. Second story. The person who shared this story claimed it was terrifying enough to change someone's life forever. The story centers around an auto rickshaw driver, a man who earned his living by driving passengers around Pune every day. One rainy night, he was working later than usual. It was somewhere around 11 or 11:30 p.m. As he was crossing Holkar Bridge, his auto rickshaw suddenly stalled right in the middle of the bridge. He climbed out, lifted the engine cover, and began trying to get it running again. Minutes passed. No matter what he tried, the engine refused to start. Then, out of nowhere, a woman dressed in a white sari appeared beside the road. She calmly looked at him and asked, "Could you please drop me nearby once your auto starts?" The driver nodded. "Just give me a minute, ma'am. As soon as I get it running, I'll take you." While he continued working on the engine, the two of them made small talk. It was an ordinary conversation. Nothing seemed unusual, until he happened to glance in her direction again, and what he saw made his blood run cold. According to the story, the woman was no longer the same height. She had somehow become taller than the auto rickshaw itself. For a brief moment, he couldn't move. Then, without warning, the engine started. The driver didn't look back. He jumped into the auto, pressed the accelerator to the floor, and sped off the bridge as fast as he could. He later claimed that for a short distance, the woman actually ran after the auto. Whether that really happened, no one can say. But according to the story, that night was enough to make him quit driving an auto rickshaw forever. And from that day on, he never returned to Holkar Bridge after dark. Third story. The next story was shared by a man named Akshay. According to his account, this happened shortly after he got married. Akshay was 25 years old, and he and his wife had planned a road trip across Maharashtra. They visited several cities, including Mumbai and Nashik. Eventually, it was Pune's turn. As they drove through the city, they lost track of time. By the time they were approaching Holkar Bridge, it was somewhere between midnight and 1 a.m. That's when they heard it, the sound of a woman crying. At first, they assumed it was coming from somewhere nearby, but as they continued driving, the crying never faded. It felt as though whoever was crying was sitting right behind them inside the car. No matter how far they drove, the sound stayed with them. Akshay's wife looked at him. "Can you hear that?" Akshay nodded. "Yeah, I hear it too." A few moments later, they reached Holkar Bridge. His wife said, "Akshay, maybe someone really needs help. We should check." So they pulled over. They stepped out of the car, and in the distance, they saw a woman. She was dressed in a white sari, her head was lowered, and she was quietly sobbing. The couple slowly walked toward her. Akshay asked, "Ma'am, what are you doing here at this hour? Why are you crying?" Still weeping, the woman replied, "I've lost my son." "Where did you lose him?" Akshay asked. But she couldn't give a clear answer. She only repeated, "He's gone. I don't know where he went." Feeling sorry for her, Akshay's wife said, "Please don't cry. We'll help you look for him." They invited the woman to sit inside their car while they searched the bridge. For nearly an hour, the couple searched every corner they could think of, but they found nothing. Finally, Akshay said, "Let's call the police." They walked back toward the car to speak with the woman again. But when they reached it, the back seat was empty. The woman was gone. Neither of them had seen her leave. Confused and shaken, they eventually left the bridge and returned home. According to Akshay, the story didn't end there. A few days later, both he and his wife began having the same dream. The woman in the white sari would appear before them and softly say, "I wish everyone had been as kind as you." The dream came again and again, 4, maybe 5 times. Then, one night, Akshay had the dream alone. This time, the woman looked at him and said, "May you receive the happiness that I never did." After that, the dream stopped. A short time later, Akshay's wife became pregnant, and 9 months afterward, they welcomed a baby boy into the world. Whether that was simply a coincidence or something more, I'll let you decide. If there's one thing that seems consistent across these stories, it's this. According to many of the people who've shared their experiences, the spirit of the grieving mother doesn't appear to harm anyone. Instead, she's said to wander the bridge, searching for the child she believes she lost. Now, those are only a handful of the stories connected to Holkar Bridge. Over the years, countless paranormal claims, local legends, and real-life tragedies have become attached to this place. After spending nearly 2 full days researching the bridge, I found 5 reasons that people most commonly give for why Holkar Bridge has earned its haunted reputation. The first is its location. The bridge stands close to both a graveyard and the historic British cemetery, and many locals believe those places are connected to the strange experiences reported there. The second is the widespread belief that people have practiced black magic in and around the bridge for many years. Whether those claims are true or not, they've become a major part of the bridge's folklore. The third is the bridge itself. It's more than 2 centuries old, and over the years, darkness, poor visibility, and traffic have contributed to numerous accidents. The fourth is the legend of the mother searching for her son. Out of all the stories I came across, this was by far the most frequently repeated. Many people claim they've seen her or experienced something they believe was connected to her. And finally, there have been numerous reports over the years of fires, accidents, murders, suicides, and other tragic events associated with the area. When you combine history, local folklore, and real tragedies, it's easy to understand why Holkar Bridge has developed such a mysterious reputation. Whether you believe the paranormal stories or not, I'll leave that decision entirely up to you. But if you ever decide to visit a place that's surrounded by stories like these, be respectful. Don't trespass, don't disturb the area, and don't take anything home that doesn't belong to you. Sometimes the safest decision is simply to leave a place exactly as you found it. Now, I have more than 200 stories less waiting to be told. Some are disturbing, some are heartbreaking, and some are far stranger than anything you've heard tonight. In fact, there's one story I've been wanting to cover for a long time. This is the story of a curse so terrifying that, according to local accounts, 84 villages across nearly 500 kilometers were abandoned in a single night. Nearly 2 centuries have passed since that night. And the most chilling part is that this is based on a real incident. The legend became so well known that it was eventually turned into a movie. But here's the part that really stands out. According to local stories, the entire film was shot during the daytime. They say no one had the courage to film there after dark. But if you'd like to see me cover that story next, let me know in the comments by typing 2 centuries. And if this video reaches 1,000 likes and 5,000 comments, I'll make that the very next upload on Nocturnvoid. Until then, stay curious, stay respectful, and subscribe to the channel for more. I'll see you in the next story.